What if the most dangerous thing on a lonely highway isn't what's following you, but what's already inside your car? Tonight, I'm going to tell you about Sarah Mitchell, a woman who learned that some roads don't just lead you away from home, they lead you somewhere you were never meant to go. This is a story about trust, about the vehicles we depend on, and about what happens when the machine you're trapped inside has plans of its own. Before we begin, I need you to understand something. This isn't a story about a haunted house you can leave. This isn't about a ghost you can run from. This is about being locked in a metal cage, hurtling through the darkness at 70 miles per hour, with no way out, and something very wrong in the driver's seat. So buckle up, turn off your lights, and whatever you do, don't look in your rearview mirror until I tell you to. Let's hit the road. Sarah Mitchell was driving home from her sister's wedding in Flagstaff, Arizona, on a Saturday night in October. It was just after 9 p.m. when she merged onto Highway 89, a desolate stretch of asphalt that cuts through the high desert like a scar across dead skin. She'd made this drive dozens of times. 4 hours of mostly empty road, the occasional truck stop, and then home to Phoenix. Easy, mindless. The kind of drive where you put on a podcast and let your brain drift. But tonight felt different. Sarah couldn't put her finger on it at first. Maybe it was the wedding. Watching her younger sister marry before her. The pitying looks from relatives. The whispered questions about when she'd settle down. Or maybe it was the car. She'd bought the 2003 Honda Accord 3 weeks earlier from a private seller she'd found online. A man named Robert Vance. He'd seemed normal enough, quiet, maybe a little too eager to get rid of the car, but the price was right, and the vehicle ran smoothly during the test drive. There was just one strange moment. As she was signing the title transfer, Robert had paused, pen hovering over the paper. "You seem like a good person," he'd said, not quite looking at her. "So I'm going to tell you something. Don't drive this car alone at night, not on empty roads." Sarah had laughed nervously. "Is there something wrong with it mechanically?" "No," Robert said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Nothing mechanical." Then he'd signed the papers, taken the cash, and walked away without another word. Sarah had dismissed it as seller's remorse or some weird attempt to seem mysterious. She'd even joked about it with her sister at the wedding. She wasn't laughing anymore. 60 miles outside of Flagstaff, Sarah noticed the radio acting strange. She'd been listening to a true crime podcast when the audio cut out. Not unusual. Reception was spotty out here. But instead of silence or static, the speakers emitted a low, rhythmic sound. Almost like breathing. Sarah changed the station. The breathing continued. She switched to Bluetooth, playing music from her phone. The breathing persisted underneath the music, steady and deep, like someone sleeping in the back seat. She turned off the radio completely. The sound stopped. "Just interference," she muttered to herself, but her hands were gripping the steering wheel tighter now. That's when she noticed the smell. It started subtle, a faint sweetness, like flowers left too long in a vase. But it grew stronger, more cloying, until Sarah had to crack the window. The rush of cold desert air helped, but it didn't eliminate the smell. If anything, it seemed to be coming from inside the car itself, from the vents, from the upholstery, from everywhere and nowhere. The dashboard clock read 10:47 p.m. Still 3 hours to go. Sarah's phone buzzed with a text from her sister. "Drive safe, text when you're home." She went to reply but stopped. The temperature gauge on the dashboard was climbing. Not dangerously high, but higher than it had been. And the gas gauge. Hadn't she just filled up before leaving? The needle was hovering near half empty. "Come on," Sarah whispered. "Don't do this to me out here." As if in response, the car accelerated. Just slightly. Just enough for Sarah to notice her foot wasn't pressing any harder on the gas pedal. The speedometer climbed from 65 to 70. To 75. Sarah eased off the accelerator. The car maintained its speed. She pressed the brake. The car slowed. But only to 70. Not to the 65 she wanted. Not to the speed she was controlling. Her heart began to hammer in her chest. For the next 20 miles, Sarah tried to convince herself she was imagining things. Cruise control must have engaged somehow. The gas gauge was just faulty. The smell was from something she'd tracked in on her shoes. But deep down, in that primal part of the brain that still remembers what it's like to be prey, she knew something was wrong. The highway stretched ahead, an endless ribbon of gray in her headlights. No other cars. No houses. Just scrubland and darkness, and the white dashes of the lane markers disappearing beneath her wheels like a countdown to something terrible. That's when the radio turned itself back on. No static this time, no breathing. Instead, a voice crackling, distant, but unmistakably human, emerged from the speakers. "Sarah!" She nearly swerved off the road. "Sarah Mitchell!" "What the?" Her voice cracked. She punched the power button. The radio stayed on. "You're driving my car, Sarah." The voice was male, hollow, like it was coming from the bottom of a well. "Who is this?" Sarah demanded, her voice shrill with fear. "This isn't funny." "I tried to warn you," the voice continued, ignoring her question. "But you didn't listen. They never listen." Sarah's hands were shaking so badly she could barely keep the car straight. She fumbled for her phone, trying to dial 911, but the screen wouldn't respond. It was frozen on her home screen, the battery indicator showing full charge but the device completely unresponsive. "You can't call anyone out here," the voice said, almost sympathetically. "We're alone now, just you and me, just like it was with the others." "Others?" The word escaped Sarah's lips as barely a whisper. Robert wasn't the first owner, and he wasn't the second, or the third. The car's speed increased again, 80 miles per hour, 85. "Stop the car!" Sarah screamed. She pressed the brake pedal to the floor. Nothing. The car accelerated harder, engine roaring. 90 miles per hour. The headlights illuminated something ahead, a turnoff, a small dirt road branching away from the highway into absolute darkness. "No. No, no, no," Sarah chanted, yanking the steering wheel to keep the car on the highway. But her arms might as well have been twigs against a hurricane. The wheel turned smoothly, easily, without any resistance, and not in the direction she was pulling. The car took the turnoff. The dirt road was barely wide enough for one vehicle. Rocks pinged against the undercarriage. Dust billowed in the taillights, visible in Sarah's rearview mirror like a ghost trailing behind her. "Where are you taking me?" Sarah's voice had gone quiet now, drained of everything except a cold, creeping dread. "Home," the voice said. "My home." The car's headlights swept across something ahead, a structure. As they got closer, Sarah could make out the details. A small, collapsed house, its roof caved in, its windows like empty eye sockets. Behind it, a barn, listing to one side, its door hanging open. The car stopped. Not gradually, instantly. Sarah lurched forward against her seatbelt. The engine died. The headlights died. The only sound was Sarah's ragged breathing and the tick-tick-tick of the cooling engine. "This is where it happened," the voice said, quieter now, almost contemplative. "July 9th, 1987. My wife and daughter were in the car. We were driving home from town. I'd been drinking. Not much, I told myself. Just enough to take the edge off." Sarah's hand found the door handle. She pulled. It didn't budge. "I didn't see the curve. We went off the road, rolled 3 times. They died on impact." I walked away with a broken arm, and the knowledge that I'd killed the only 2 people I ever loved. "I'm sorry," Sarah whispered, not knowing what else to say, trying to appeal to whatever humanity might remain in the thing talking to her. "I'm so sorry that happened to you, but—" "I came back here," the voice interrupted, "put a hose in the exhaust pipe, sat in the driver's seat, went to sleep." The temperature inside the car was dropping. Sarah could see her breath now, little clouds of white in the darkness. But death wasn't the end. Death was just a different kind of driving. I'm still here, still in this car, still trying to get home. And everyone who buys this car, everyone who drives it alone at night, they help me try. "Try to what?" Sarah asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. "Try to go back. Try to undo it. Try to not make that turn." The headlights flared back to life, but they weren't pointing at the ruined house anymore. The car had somehow rotated while sitting still, and now faced back toward the dirt road, toward the highway, toward civilization. "But I always make the turn," the voice said, and Sarah heard something in it now, not malice, but infinite, crushing despair. "I always make the turn, and now, so do you." The engine roared to life. The car launched forward, tires spitting gravel, accelerating faster than Sarah thought possible for a 20-year-old Honda. She screamed, pulling at the door handle, the window control, anything. Nothing responded. The car was in complete control now, not even pretending to respond to human input. They hit the dirt road doing 60-70. The car bounced and shuddered, but somehow maintained its trajectory, as if guided by something with inhuman reflexes. Sarah's mind raced. She thought about Robert's warning, about the too-good-to-be-true price, about how eager he'd been to sell. He'd known, they'd all known, every owner who'd passed this cursed machine down the line. The highway appeared ahead. The car, didn't slow. It burst onto the asphalt in a shower of dirt and rocks, swerving wildly before straightening out. And then it began to speed up. 90, 100, 110. "What are you doing?" Sarah screamed over the roar of the engine. "You'll kill us both!" "You can't kill what's already dead," the voice said. "But maybe if I go fast enough, push far enough, the crash will be so complete that nothing survives. Not even memories. Not even ghosts." The speedometer needle climbed past 120. Sarah saw something ahead. Lights. That truck stop, brilliantly illuminated against the desert darkness like a beacon. "Help me," she screamed, though no one could possibly hear her. "Somebody help me!" The car began to drift toward the wrong side of the highway. And that's when Sarah saw it. An 18-wheeler, heading toward them in the opposite lane, its horn blaring as it realized the Accord was drifting into its paths. "No!" Sarah grabbed the wheel with both hands, throwing all her strength into it. "I don't want to die." For the first time since the nightmare began, she felt resistance. Not much. Like pushing through water, but something. "Let go!" The voice roared, no longer sad, now furious. "Let go or we both suffer forever!" "No!" Sarah pulled harder. Sweat poured down her face. Her muscles screamed. The truck's horn was deafening now, its headlights filling the entire windshield. And then, just as impact seemed certain, Sarah felt something break. Not physically, something else. Some invisible chain that had been wrapped around the steering wheel, around the entire car. The wheel yanked left. The car swerved back into its lane with inches to spare. The truck thundered past, horn fading into the distance. The car coasted to a stop on the shoulder. The engine died. The voice was gone. Sarah sat in the silence, trembling, crying, alive. She didn't know how long she sat there. The phone. Her phone buzzed back to life. 17 missed calls. Dozens of texts. Sarah called her sister with shaking hands. "Oh my God, Sarah, I've been trying to reach you for 2 hours. Are you okay?" Sarah looked at the dark highway stretching in both directions. "I need you to come get me. I'm about 60 miles outside Phoenix, on Highway 89. "What happened? Did you break down?" Sarah looked at the steering wheel, the dashboard, the rearview mirror. "Oh, yeah," she whispered, "something like that." Her sister arrived 45 minutes later with her new husband. They'd brought a tow truck. Sarah climbed out of the Honda and never looked back. She sold the car the next day. Didn't even bother trying to get a good price. She just wanted it gone. She told the buyer, a young man, early 20s, excited about his first car, everything that had happened. He'd laughed, called it a cool story, said it would make the car even more fun to own. Sarah had tried. That's what she told herself later. She'd tried to warn him, just like Robert had tried to warn her. But some people need to learn the hard way. Some people need to take that dark road themselves. 3 weeks later, Sarah was scrolling through local news on her phone when a headline caught her eye. Young man killed in single vehicle accident on Highway 89. Her blood went cold. She clicked the article, read the details. The victim was the young man she'd sold the car to. He'd lost control on a straight stretch of highway, crossed into oncoming traffic, and collided head-on with a semi-truck. The accident had occurred at 11:23 p.m. He'd been alone. Sarah was still staring at the article when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello?" Silence. Then, faintly, she heard it. That sound. That breathing. And underneath it, barely audible, a voice. "Thank you for the car, Sarah. He's with me now. We're all together, all the owners, all the drivers. We're all trying to get home." The call disconnected. Sarah threw her phone across the room, but before the screen went dark, she saw one last thing. A text message, delivered, but showing no sender. It contained an address, her address, and a single line, "We know where you live, we know the roads you take, and sooner or later, you'll need another car." Sarah hasn't driven since that night. She takes buses now. Ubers. She walks when she can. Because she learned something on that dark desert highway. Something that keeps her awake at night, checking the windows, listening for the sound of an engine idling in her driveway. Some vehicles don't just carry you from one place to another. Some vehicles are collecting passengers, building a catalog of souls, waiting for their collection to be complete. And when Sarah lies in bed at night, trying to fall asleep, she sometimes hears it. The distant sound of a car engine drawing closer. Always closer. Never quite arriving. But always, always on its way.
Thanks for watching. Every ending hides the beginning of another tale, and ours is already on its way. Stay tuned, you'll find the next chapter right here, and soon.